You're listening to Saturday Morning Media. And now, back to our show. Here we go. Welcome once again to the Grantcast. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Grant Baciocco. It is a pleasure to have you here. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks for listening. Thanks for downloading. Thanks for checking this out. It is much appreciated. Well, if you can tell by the different sort of outdoor noise, I am outdoors. I am sitting on the front porch of my cabin where I am staying in Helen, Georgia. I'm considering this sort of my Lance Anderson Verge of the Fringe type episode. Lance always records episodes of Verge of the Fringe outside in the wilds of Burbank, and I am doing it in the wilds of North Georgia, just outside the town of Helen. And I'm sitting on the front porch of the cabin I have been staying in for the past couple days. I actually was in this cabin a week or so ago for 7 days. I went to Orlando, which we'll talk about here in a second, and then I came back to this cabin, and I will be here through the end of the weekend. We have 2 more shows of this Mirth and Mischief show left. The show's been going great. The shows have been a lot of fun. Last Saturday night, I think, was our biggest show yet, and it was a lot of fun. And I am just having fun being a mischievous gnome. I almost said troll. Gnome sitting in a tree stump. And I really love just saying things that make people laugh and kind of going a little nutty and a little crazy. It's been a lot of fun. By the time you hear this, unless you are a Patreon patron, I will be already home. But this was a fun time. It was a good time had by all, and by all meaning me. It was trying at times, just in terms of the business and the scheduling of things. And I'm somebody who, when I go somewhere, whether it's for a job or whether it's for a vacation, I don't need to plan out every detail at all. But I need to have some details. I need to know where I'm staying and how I'm getting there. If I have those 2 things, the little minute details of day to day, I could care less. But I need to know where I'm going. I need to know where I'm staying, and I need to know how I'm getting there. And if those things are in place, I'm pretty easygoing. But it has been fun these past couple weeks because I came here April 27th, 2025. I'm currently recording this on May 28th, so it's been over a month, just over a month since I got here. And I've explored the town of Helen. I've explored the surrounding areas of of North Georgia, and it is very woodsy, and there's not a lot here. And I am somebody who loves the outdoors. I went camping and fishing with Grandpa Jim, but I think I have become a little more dependent on there being more things around. I went to a movie theater because I was like, hey, I got some time. I'm going to go to a movie theater. And I went to the movie theater. The movie theater was 30 minutes away from where I'm currently staying. And I thought, oh, well, I'll have dinner while I'm out there because I'm sure there's other stuff around. No, there was no other stuff around. This movie theater was by itself in the middle of this. It's not, I wouldn't say forested area, but like a rural area. You're driving down a 2-lane road, and then all of a sudden off to the side by itself is a movie theater, and there's nothing else around it. It was a very nice movie theater. Had a great time. Very, very nice people in the movie theater. But boy, oh boy, nothing else around it. And no, I was not able to go get dinner at a place next door because there was nothing near this movie theater. A couple days later, I was doing a live stream with Toily, and Toily was talking about this movie theater and how it was in the middle of nowhere. And the people in the chat were asking, well, I went to the movie theater, I think, on Wednesday. And so this was a Saturday that I was doing this live stream. And I was asking, people were asking, well, how many screens does it have? And I was like, oh, you know what? I think it had like 6 or 8 screens. I'm going to look it up. And during the live stream, I looked up the movie theater, and their website was gone. Their website, where I had purchased tickets not 2 days before, 3 days before, was completely gone. And I was like, well, this is strange. And then everybody jokingly in the chat said that it was because it was in the middle of nowhere, it was a haunted theater. It's not really there. You saw a movie at a haunted place. Very, very funny. And when I did another Google search for the theater, I found out that Friday night, after I had been there, they had a fire in the theater. And it only affected the sign outside. It was an electrical short in the sign outside, but they had to evacuate the theater. Nobody was harmed. And in fact, the theater is back open. But that's why the website was gone, was because they were not selling tickets to the movies because there was a fire in the theater. But I have been in Helen for so long, Helen, Georgia, this quaint Bavarian town in North Georgia. I have been here so long that I'm now getting the local discount in places. There is a barbecue place that I have gone to twice. And the second time I went in, the nice young lady behind the counter said, you've been here before? I said, yes, you're a local, right? And I said, well, I'm staying here for the month for a job. And she's like, oh, I'm going to give you the local discount. And then I went into Hansel and Gretel's candy store to get myself a chocolate candy. And the woman behind the counter there said, you're a local, right? You've been in here because I had gone in there twice, all right? I've gone in. I had 2 candies from Hansel and Gretel's candy place. Anyway, I'm getting the local discount is what I'm saying. I'm getting the local discount. I have also... because this is a very woodsy, mountainous area, there are a lot of trails. And I really wanted to not necessarily hike in the sense of hiking up and down mountains, but I love going on my walks, and I was looking for places to do that. And I quickly found out that with most of the trails around here, my tennis shoes are not going to cut it. You need like some sort of a hiking boot because you're really going over branches and rocks and all this stuff. So I did a little research, and I found out that there was a paved hiking path or trail. I don't know what you want to call it. It's the Helen to Hardman Farms Trail, I think is the official name of it. And it's paved. It's concrete. You do go over some like wooden kind of bridges and risers and around, but it's a clear walkway. And I discovered this when I first actually moved into this cabin, and I have been going every morning that it has not been pouring buckets, and done about a mile on that trail or so, and it has been a lot of fun. And the last time I was on the trail before I was leaving to go to Orlando last week, I was coming down the trail, and there was this nice older lady, kind of a grandma-ish type, although I am to the age where I could be a grandpa, I guess, but older than me. And she was coming down the trail, and she waved at me, and I waved to her. Now, I'm listening to podcasts. I have my earbuds in, and she flags me down, and I go, yeah. And she goes, you're going down to that other end of the trail? And I said, yeah, I am. She goes, be careful. There's 2 copperhead snakes all coiled up on the side of the trail, so be careful. And I'm like, well, no, I can never come here again because there's snakes now on the trail. So the whole rest of that walk and every time since, I have gone right down the middle of the path, keeping my eyes peeled on either side. It is not the relaxing, I'm just going to go out and get some exercise walk that I had hoped that it was. But that being said, I've been having a good time here. I was driving around. I have been trying to explore the outlying cities and stuff like that around Helen. And I forget exactly, I may have been coming back from doing laundry because the nearest coin-operated laundromat where I can do laundry is 30 minutes away. And I think I was coming back from that, and there was you pass by a lot of farms with cows. And it was so funny because I saw this bird perched on a fence post. And that reminds me of what my dad used to say, that I was born when a bird pooped on a fence post and the sun shone on it. But this bird was on the fence post. I don't know if it was pooping. And there was a cow next to the fence post. And I was stopped at like this stoplight because there are farms right up to these stoplights. And the cow that was sitting there was chewing its grass. And then it turned and saw the bird And then it looked like it put its nose up to the bird, like, hello, how are you? And the bird flew away. But I just thought that was so funny that the cow was curious. It was like this beautiful little whimsical moment of the cow investigating the bird. I don't know what that means. It's not a dream. But speaking of dreams, I've been having my tight space dreams again. I think I've talked about this before on the podcast. I had a dream where I was playing like it was a game. And the game was you have a million things, and they keep getting reduced by half. And if you picked on the right side, you got to stay in the game. And I kept picking, I don't know if it's a number or whatever, but I kept picking the right side and staying in the game. But I suddenly realized in this dream that the room I was in was getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller because it kept halving in size. And I didn't wake up in a total panic attack like I do, but it was not pleasant. It wasn't. I didn't wake up with a nice, relaxed, pleasant feeling from having slept or anything like that. But to kind of bridge that, I went to Orlando to visit my good friend John B. DeHaas. We went to Walt Disney World, but we also went to Epic Universe, which is the new Universal theme park. I liked it a lot. I liked a lot of the rides. The rides were a lot of fun. My favorite ride was the Monsters Unchained ride, just because I just loved how they put all the classic Universal horror monsters all together into this attraction. I will say that I don't think we rode anything completely uninterrupted. And from what I mean by that is from getting in line to getting on the ride. The Monsters Unchained ride, we only got to ride it once, and it broke down 4 times while we were on the attraction. And we went back in line to get on Monsters Unchained at the end of the evening, and it broke down, and they just said, we're not reopening it for the night. We're done for the night. So it was a big bummer. And but I love that ride. That ride is really great. And I'm not going to give any spoilers here. So if you're listening and you're like, don't tell me what's going to happen, I'm not going to tell you what's going to happen. But we rode. There is a How to Train Your Dragon, which I've never seen any of the How to Train Your Dragon films. I know nothing about them, whether animated, live action, whatever, other than it's a thing about how to train your dragons. And they have a roller coaster there. That roller coaster was fun, but the seats really didn't have a lot of room to move your feet. And that's where I get into the crazy kind of panicky feeling like I'm feeling in my dreams, where I can't move my feet. And so I made it through because I just kept saying, focus on the ride, don't focus on your feet, and that you can't move your feet. And I had a similar experience. I think I might have said this on the podcast before, but at the Universal Studios Hollywood on their Secret Life of Pets ride, where I got in and I pulled the lap bar down and I suddenly realized I couldn't move my legs very much at all. And I started getting a very panicky feeling. And so I don't know what that is. This is something new that didn't used to happen. But there you go. Anyway, Epic Universe was a lot of fun. It was really, really great. I recommend if you're out there, you can go. And I'm looking forward to riding Monsters Unchained without having it break down. But even having it break down, it was just a really, really fun ride. And I had a great time doing that. Finally, I'll wrap up by saying yesterday I took a trip to Cleveland, Georgia to visit Babyland General Hospital. Grant, you may be saying to yourself, what is Babyland General Hospital? That is I don't know if it's corporate, but it is the home of the Cabbage Patch Kids. And this is this crazy, it's beautiful. On the road outside of Babyland, there are letters that spell out Babyland. And then it's just this sprawling lawn that looks like it goes on a mile. I'm sure it's not a mile, but I'm sure it might be a half mile or close to a half mile. It's forever to this beautiful white house that is Babyland General Hospital. And let me tell you, friends, it is an experience. And if you get to go to Cleveland, Georgia, I would highly recommend going to, Babyland General Hospital because I was alive during the Cabbage Patch Kid craze in the 80s. I had one because I think it was my grandparents, or maybe it was my dad, but like my dad got a few of them, and I got one, my brother got one, and I think a couple other people in the family got one, my cousin Katie maybe. Anyway, we had Cabbage Patch Kids. But that was the extent of it. I had one. I could not tell you where it is today. It was donated millions of years ago. This is this big showroom with it kind of covers the history of Cabbage Patch Kids. But then it goes into this big showroom where they have just every accessory you could ever want. You want diapers for your Cabbage Patch Kid preemie, 49 cents. You can pick some up. You can get bottles, and then they have Cabbage Patch Kids, and they have some like $30 Cabbage Patch Kids, and then they have $70 Cabbage Patch Kids and one-of-a-kind limited edition outfits. And then the highlight is in the middle of the room, there is a big tree, and underneath the big tree is Mother Cabbage, and there's all these little disembodied heads of Cabbage Patch Kids growing in the middle of cabbages. And an announcement will come out that will say, ladies and gentlemen, Mother Cabbage is now 5 leaves dilated. If you would like to make your way to the tree, you can witness a live delivery of a Cabbage Patch Kid. So you better believe I was there to see this, and I witnessed this. And it's the first time I've seen a live birth, and it was for a Cabbage Patch Kid. But it was pretty great. The nurse administered some amoxicillin. Amoxicillin makes sure that the birth is painless. And also injected 10 cc's of TLC, Tender Love and Care. And I was there to witness the birth of Timothy Beckley. Now, I will say this. The nurse completely messed this up. This reminds me, the people who work here remind me of it's a retirement job. It would be a really fun retirement job. So this nurse, she takes suggestions for names from the crowd. And it was Beckley and then Timothy. And then she combined them to Beckley Timothy as the Cabbage Patch Kids' names, because they all have names. And then after she she pulls the baby out of the cabbage, she takes it over to a nurse room and weighs the baby and measures the baby and writes out a little certificate for the baby and then puts the baby in the window so you can see. And she wrote Timothy Beckley, which she got the names mixed up. But I, as a joke, thought it would be funny because I was filming stuff for Toily, if Toily adopted this live birth boy. So I went over to the cash register and I said, can you adopt, because that's the terminology they use, can you adopt the babies that are born live in the, the baby we just saw born live, can we adopt him? And the one said, yes, you can. The adoption fee is $270. And I said, that is too much for a joke. That is too much for a gag for Toily. But these ones they're handmade. These ones that they do the birth for, they're handmade. So I did not adopt Timothy Beckley or whatever his name was. But I highly recommend that if you're in Cleveland, Georgia, or near Cleveland, Georgia, or within an hour or 2 hours of Cleveland, Georgia, that you make a trip to Babyland General Hospital. It is free. There's no charge. It's a self-guided tour. You can spend as much or as little time as you want there. And it's an experience, and I'm glad I went. And you know what else was an experience? This episode number 256 of the Grant Cast. We're going to wrap it up here. Thank you so much for listening. I really, really appreciate it, and I hope that you have an incredible day. This episode of the Grant Cast was made possible by the Saturday Morning Media Patreon patrons who've gone to patreon.com/Saturday Morning Media and set up a pledge for as little as $1 a month. Patreons at the behind-the-scenes level and above get access to a video of the recording of these podcast episodes, and a big shout-out to all of our patrons, and a special shout-out to our patron producers, Eve Cunning, Kathy Crawford, Tony Urbano, Brandy, David Akers, Jeff Toro, Lee Thompson, Paul, Ricky Chavez, and Scott Armstrong. If you'd like to become a patron and receive episodes of the Grantcast before they are released, visit patreon.com/Saturday Morning Media and set up your monthly pledge today. And thank you for your support. This episode of the Grantcast is copyright 2025 Saturday Morning Media, Grant Baciocco, executive producer, all rights reserved. www.saturdaymorningmedia.com. I need some chimes to ring to signal the end of the episode.
You've been listening to Saturday Morning Media. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.